By the end of this episode, you're going to understand something unsettling. The thing you fear most is the thing that gives your life meaning. Let's begin with a thought experiment. Tonight you go to sleep as normal, but when you wake up tomorrow, you discover something has changed. You're not sick, you're not in pain, you're not euphoric either. You just know, deep down, that you cannot die. No disease, no accident, not aging, no end. At first you smile. Relief washes over you. The quiet fear you've carried your entire life is gone. You think, I've beaten the system. I have time now. I can finally relax. But here's the question no one asks. Relax from what? What exactly did death force you to do that immortality just took away? You've been trained to see death as a villain. Every movie, every medicine, every productivity hack whispers the same lie. If only you had more time. More time to become confident, fix your mistakes, say what you should have said, live the life you almost lived. So of course, immortality sounds like freedom. But what if death isn't the prison? What if it's the pressure that turns carbon into diamonds? You don't rush because you're weak, you rush because time is finite. Urgency isn't anxiety, urgency is meaning under constraint. Remove the constraint and watch meaning dissolve. Let's go back to you now. You're immortal, aren't you? The first 50 years are incredible. You learn new skills, travel endlessly, build wealth slowly and safely, make mistakes without fear. You think everyone should have this. You become patient, calm, detached. Deadlines no longer control you. But here's something subtle you don't notice yet. You stop choosing. Because choice requires sacrifice, and sacrifice only matters when time is scarce. Why commit now when forever is available? Then here's the first crack in the illusion. You stop finishing things. Books half written, projects paused, relationships on hold. Not because you're lazy, but because nothing is final anymore. Ask yourself honestly, would you train hard if you knew you had infinite retries? Would courage feel the same if failure had no cost? Would love feel as deep if loss wasn't permanent? Mortality sharpens the blade of attention. Immortality dulls it. Now let's talk neuroscience. Your brain is designed for contrast. Pleasure comes from difference, not abundance. The first time you fall in love, win big, stand on a mountain, hear a song that breaks you. Dopamine spikes because it's rare. But over centuries, every pleasure becomes and feels familiar. Every thrill becomes baseline. Every wow becomes meh. This is hedonic adaptation. Immortality doesn't increase joy, it actually erodes it. You don't feel pain as deeply anymore, but you don't feel joy either. You're not depressed, you're numb. Now comes the part no one likes to imagine. You watch your parents age, your lovers wrinkle, your friends weaken, your children die, again and again and again. At first you grieve, and then you learn it's not worth attaching so deeply. Not because you're cold, but because pain teaches you restraint. You love less intensely, you invest less. You begin to feel like a ghost walking through generations. You don't belong to any era, you're always out of time. And here's a dangerous question. Who are you if the story never concludes? Stories need a beginning, a middle, and an end. Without an ending, the growth has no arc. Lessons have no weight. Redemption has no urgency. You don't become wise. You become fragmented. Different versions of you pile up. Nothing integrates, nothing resolves. You don't live a story, you drift through scenes. Now here's the twist. At some point, you begin to envy mortals. Their focus, their passion, their recklessness, their intensity. They burn bright because they burn briefly. They say what matters because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. They risk because time is unforgiving. You realise something horrifying. Death was never the enemy. It was the reason you cared. The Immortality Curse is this: infinite time destroys finite meaning. Without death, choice loses weight, courage loses teeth, love loses urgency, life loses structure. Mortality isn't a flaw, it's the engine. The clock isn't cruel, it's compassionate. So here's the real question: not what if I lived forever, but what if you lived as if time mattered? Would you stop postponing? What would you say today? What would you commit to fully? What would you risk while you still can? You don't need immortality, you just need presence. You don't need more time. You need decisive use of the time you have. Because one day, whether you like it or not, your story will end. And that ending is what makes every page before it worth reading.